Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to Just Minding My Business. I hope your day was full of joy. Today we have coming to the mic Grace Nguro, who's 29 years old, and she's from Africa, Kenya, and currently resides in the DMV area. Grace is the mother of two beautiful boys, 11 and 3, and currently raising her babies while she worked on launching her new podcast, which is scheduled to come out on March the 7th, in an effort to abolish the selling of women in marriages in Kenya, as well as in the United States. Well, welcome, Grace, to the show. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ida. How you doing? How y'all doing today?
Very good. Glad to have you.
Yes.
I'm honored, Queens. Thank you so much.
So, tell us why you are so passionate about this problem, I'm going to call it, because it is a problem.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us why you are, how this came about.
Well, this came about, I am from Kenya. I was born there. I came here when I was 9. I was raised here in the United States. But the way this all came about is because I was a victim to that. My parents orchestrated everything behind my back, started off from, when I was a kid being raped and molested. And every time a woman has a daughter, there's a value that is placed on her. And that value, if you're touched or anything, or say your virginity or molested, raped, you're devalued basically. And they saw it was easier for me because my husband needed citizenship and I was already touched, raped, molested, things like that. My value had devalued. My father saw as an opportunity, to raise my value. So he did that exchange, so that's how all this came about.
That's amazing.
Now, is that a custom in Kenya?
It is actually a custom that started a long, long time ago with the culture of, they do surgery on women and they take your, the little ball that arouses a female. They used to do surgery and they will cut that out so a woman can't be aroused, so it can keep her virginity intact and she won't even have a feeling of even a desire of wanting sexual intercourse, to protect it until her marriage.
Wow. And what areas of Africa is this practiced?
This is actually practiced everywhere in Africa.
Wow, that's deep. Wow.
It's everywhere.
Wow.
Yep.
That sounds even painful.
It is, and even right now, I don't know if you know about the story that's going on. I don't know if you've seen it in the news about Nigerian women right now are being kidnapped out of their school, these universities when they're in school, because women are starting to, run things. If you see it all over the world, and in order for Africa, and especially Nigeria, is one of the dominant, most prosperous country right now. So in order for them to keep the balance, to keep the men up top, they're kidnapping these women that are in university that actually have chances to become independent, and they're raping them and killing them.
Oh my God.
So wow. It's a lot.
Mm, mm. So on your podcast that you're going to be launching, I guess your target audience is going to be women in Africa.
Yes, my target will be women in Africa, but I'm also gonna broaden that because it's not only Africa; it's these third world country as well.
Wow, wow. So you're going to make awareness of this through your podcast to get people's awareness levels up that these are things that are happening, because a lot of people visit Africa and it's so beautiful and this, that, the other, but they don't know the underlying stuff, for lack of a better word, that happens in these countries, and it's horrible, so pretty much being born as a girl, you pretty much messed up from the door, so to speak.
Exactly.
So when you say other third world countries, what other countries also practice this?
Pakistan, India, Saudi Arabia, a lot, especially like in Asia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just recently read something about that's a practice that's been going on for centuries.
Exactly.
In Asia, where if you have a girl child, they'll birth them, but they'll kill them. And now they're doing something they call a selective birthing. If they find out that they are pregnant with a female, they will terminate the pregnancy.
Yep. They even have the popular regulations going on in China. There's only a certain amount of children a woman is allowed to have per family.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that.
Wow.
In other words, people are delving into areas that they have as human beings, we have no right to delve into. A woman's sexuality is a God-given arrangement.
Exactly.
That physiology has nothing to do with mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone to step into that place and make that decision is wrong, number one, but it's so antiquated
and just trying to place the private society, mankind is just trying to place themselves in the place of God, period. That's the worst thing. You have mankind, they're trying to create hearts. I mean, everything. They're trying to control religion. Religion came, to overshadow and blind us, from the truth. It's actually spirituality. You know what I mean? So it's all these stuff. And mankind just keep trying to put their foot in place of God. And I don't even know. It's an uproar. It's really an uproar. It's an epidemic. It's ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. And things like this needs to be exposed,
So with your exposure, what do you hope to achieve? Since this has been going on for generations and generations and generations, how do you believe that what you do is going to make a change in a behavior that's been going on for so long?
Well, for one, the government system needs to, especially the government system here needs to be very much involved, I mean, we're out here fighting wars that we don't even know what we're fighting for when we got things like this that should be number one priority, and on top of that, for example, in Africa, children belong to men. You have women there who are stuck in these crazy psychotic marriages with these crazy men. I mean, if your husband is beating the crap out of you and you call the police and they walk in, they're just going to leave you there. They're not going to do anything because that's a marital affair that they're not going to be involved in. And I don't feel that's right. And if these women, they've been raised to be dependent from when they are children, and when they're sold, they're still depending because they only learned how to be dependents. Now they're in this transition where they're sold and sent off to a man where they only know dependency. They can be taught knowledge, and be taught what the meaning of independency, given tools, knowledge is power. I believe in that. And I feel as though, like, if it's somebody who is out there that can actually, who have been a victim, that can stand out, maybe you can give these women strength to get up and see, like, if I can do it, you can too. You don't have to accept to be caged like that, like a freaking animal. You are a person. We're actually queens, us women, and we should not allow that kind of treatment at all. I don't care what country and what law.
I agree with you 100%. That's just, I can't even think of a word. That's heinous. That's slavery, actually.
Yeah, it really is.
Wow, that is just awful.
I just want to give them knowledge. And even one day, if a system like the one we had here, like social services, that can help these women get out of that situation, get these women jobs, just find a way to just help them become independent, a transition where they don't have to sit and depend on a man that's abusing them, and like you said, putting them through mental slavery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
they don't see a way out, so they're just gonna stick to what they know and the only way out. And on top of that, they have a law. If a woman leave, they have to leave their children. That's another thing that needs to be abolished, because how can you take a woman's child if they choose to leave out of a marriage? I just don't understand that.
Wow.
But it again, what Ida said is so true. You're fighting against generations of a tradition. And where will you gain your support to be able to address this? Because not one person can do this. Are there different associations or groups that are already established, perhaps in Kenya, that are ready to take on this task?
To be honest, there isn't. I'm actually trying to start like a group where you can have like a board, like a board meeting where we can start like a nonprofit organization and just start, I don't know, finding a way to get the education, even through my podcast. Just start. I want to find a way to even be able to stream live where they'll be able to even, what I mean, listen to this and hear me. You know what I mean? It starts from there. And then the funding itself, I can even start traveling. I'm even planning on starting even a traveling agency, to send, to start taking, Black Americans and teaching them how to invest in their country and stuff like that. You don't know what kind of doorways that can open, And I'm also looking for sponsors as well. So that's another thing. Yeah.
So this is really a grassroots, what they used to call still do call grassroots operation.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting from scratch and you're looking for people who will support what you're doing. Do you think you will get support from, let's say, Kenyan women who are living here in the United States?
That I don't know. I'm not sure because, they tend to say, like in my country, there's this saying, your people will always disown you. There's that saying.
Okay.
So, and I've actually been a victim of that, even with my own family. I'm not sure if I will be able to get assistance from, women from here, but I'm hoping that I will. I'm praying about it. And I just hope that there are women out here that are willing to get up and do something about it because they know what's going on. They know exactly what's going on. They know the root of all these problems. And I just hope there's women out there who hear me and get a chance to hear me and actually stand up and help me fight this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a big task.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say it's impossible, because if God wants it to change, He will bring you the powers that you need to
Yes,
make it
ma'am.
happen. So,
Yes, ma'am.
undoubtedly God wants it to change.
yes,
Undoubtedly.
yes.
This is not nothing that he created. This
No,
is
it's
not
nothing
anything that he ever had in mind
And
for
Absolutely.
women to be abused. We are to be helpmates, to men,
Exactly.
a complement,
Mm-hmm.
not a slave, not a servant, and definitely not to be abused.
Exactly.
In any country, under any whatever
Circumstances.
mankind is made up, that is
Mhm.
not God's, was never in God's purpose. Never.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think, like so many other things that we're hearing, Ida and I are hearing as we meet people, is that people are becoming conscious. And
Mm-hmm.
conscious is really in gear. And they realize that there are different segments of the human race who really need help.
Exactly.
Because they are in a situation which actually, you know, most of us talk about spirituality or religion, but you cannot, those types of situations make it almost impossible for people to believe that God is real.
Mm-hmm.
Because they mistakenly believe that God is causing all of this suffering. He has nothing to do with it. His
It's a bigger
adversary is
picture.
responsible for all of this suffering. But
Mm-hmm.
because there is so much of this type of suffering, people are always blaming God for it, and they feel that they cannot have a relationship, understandably, with a God who allows them to suffer like this.
And that comes with lack of understanding on how strong our will is. We have willpower, and that we have those people who abuse the will, and we have people who actually cherish the gift that God gave us. And that's the difference. God is not doing anything. It's just people. It's just mankind. There's mankind out there who just love and know how to abuse their will and their gift instead of using it for good. They use it for evil.
That's good.
That's very true.
Very, very true.
That's very true.
So where does that leave you? I guess that's my biggest question. Is there, I know that, well, you're not going to go to the consulate, of course, but I know that there are different groups of different African groups within this country. Like in Maryland, there's different populations, huge groups of Yoruba people in different places. You'll find them. We don't have very many Igbo, almost no Hausa in Maryland that I know of. But there has to be, is there an area where many Kenyans in this country have more or less decided that they're going to live? You know, like some groups go to Houston, you know, because they don't want to be in the bitter cold, you know, or anything like that. So is there any way for you to track down that type of information? Where are the populations of Kenyans in this country?
Actually, I have, because they hold events all the time, especially for like 4th of July, Halloween events. You know, we do our own parties, Independence Day, you know, stuff like that. Every country has its own Independence Day, and we have these kind of events. We have Madaraka Day. That's an event that is every Kenyan come out, and is actually held here in the DMV at a park. So that would be a good thing. But then at the same time, this is going to be the hardest thing to accomplish because it's going to collide with a lot of male testosterone.
Yeah.
And a lot of males, and unfortunately in this community, in our country, and any of these programs that they are here or in Africa are ran by men. So that's going to be, and that's why I was trying to start it. I was trying to go another route where I won't need these community things that they have together, because I know they're ran by men. I was going to try to go through Black American by bringing unity, if that makes sense.
Well,
I had to simmer on this because this is a tough one here.
in a very complicated situation. So
Very, very, very complicated. So let me ask you this. The women that are here, have you been able to have collaborations with them in terms of how they feel about it, about what you're trying to do?
yes, I have, but a lot of not all damn okay. I haven't even found not one. I'll be honest. I haven't found not even one because a lot of them live private life. Because in our community, if you even start speaking anything about marriage, you become the talk of the town and you're ashamed. So that's another thing. Like they make it entirely impossible for even a woman to come out. If a female was to even go to their parents and tell them this and this, like, for example, what's going on in her household, like how when I was a kid, when I told my parents what happened, my father just directly told me, I'm not going to abolish anybody's marriage for what you said. So.
Oh, so there's no respect for your voice.
Nope. Women have no voice.
It's just interesting. It's taken all this time. In this country, women went through the same thing, but not as drastically. But the abuse was there. What women had to go through just to gain the vote.
I mean, the abuse that I was going through with my marriage, I tried to even ask my parents to, help me with that. And my father told me that a woman should never speak to her husband. God created an order. I'm supposed to go and talk to God and wait for God to talk to my husband. I'm never supposed to talk to my husband unless I'm requesting for, food or, the basic necessity that the kids need.
I think that's interesting that they got that part, but they ignored the rest of it. They totally ignored the rest of it.
Don't that sound like
there is an order. There is an order. God gave men headship, but the head of the man is the Christ. The head of Christ is God. Therefore, men are not allowed to abuse their wives. It's just
they've missed
women. It's like they got part of it,
and but they missed a whole part where Jesus speak on how a woman should treat his wife, just like the same the comparison he used in the Bible.
Yes.
The way he treated the church, the same way a man should treat his wife.
Absolutely.
And my father had this persona that, he would say, even though I had 3 wives, those are the kind of things.
What 3 wives? He had 1 wife.
I mean, who was Abraham? Ooh, y'all been editing.
Oh, Abraham.
Abraham.
Sarah, yes. And no, was it Abraham?
Who had, was it 3 or 2? Rachel and Leah.
Well, yeah. Well, I won't get into that. But yeah, there are a couple who did have their wife, but they also had a concubine. And even that was governed by God. There were laws about how that was to be handled. There were definitive laws. That's what Deuteronomy and Numbers is all about. They're all the laws that govern those kind of arrangements. And abuse was not even
anywhere in the Bible.
Yeah, and that's what I think sometimes people get so, again, frustrated with, because they one point they're being told that God is love, and then the next time people from their actions show that even though they talk about God, that their actions are completely the opposite.
I really feel like there's something called as religion abuse. I really believe that, because there's people out there that will sit there, like literally, they will abuse you with religion. And husband will sit there and start literally rewinding your mind, or just try and rewrite the things you believe in by telling you other things. Like, it's abuse, making you believe one thing from the truth that you know. I really believe that there's some formality of religion abuse.
Okay.
And I kind of want to agree with that, because I know people that do that. They will throw the Bible at you, and they will make it convenient for whatever they're trying, the point they're trying to make.
Whatever their secret endeavors are.
Yeah, I've seen people do that,
Yeah.
where they, do that to you, and you like, really?
And that is very big in Africa.
That's why it's important that you know the truth.
Exactly.
Well, the problem is with that is that people want to say that they know the truth and they want to talk about God, but they will not go according to God's word, which is the Bible. They will take the Bible and they will rearrange it for their convenience.
Right.
Yeah.
They ignore the truth of the Bible because there's something else that's more convenient for them to do.
Exactly. For their selfish
just like you're
gain.
talking about marriage. The laws about marriage are right there. They're right there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
But people will take it and they will rearrange it for their convenience.
Exactly.
And they'll leave out the truth of the Bible and decorate it so that it becomes convenient for them.
Yeah.
There's so many things in the Bible that even, Jesus himself condemned the religious leaders because they took the truth of the Bible and they abused it.
Exactly.
So again, going back to this whole issue of women and women being abused, not only in Africa, but around the world. In this country, there's abuse too. I mean, we have just gotten to the point where it's more open that, we talk about violence in the family, and, if you call the police and there's a violence in the house, the police will actually tell you what to do. They can't take the person out of the house. But they will tell you what you need to do. And then there are things that you can do. You can, make sure that they, I forget what it's called, but
file a protective order.
File protective orders and that sort of thing.
That's what I did.
Yeah, but so many, it's abuse against women is legendary. It's been going on for centuries.
Yes.
And now it's in more and more places is becoming, it's just not permissible. And more women are saying, don't tell me that God permits this, because he does not. Actually, there's a scripture in the Bible that says that any man who abuses his wife, God stops answering his prayers.
Oh, wow.
Not answer his prayers.
God.
And it's so important because right now this world is in such trouble that we need every good heart that there is to be able to get some semblance of sanity in this world.
Yes.
As long as this world is going to last. I mean, we know that the system is going down. It is going down. There's no doubt about it.
Drastically.
Yes.
Right. But in the meantime, we still have to have our hearts in one piece so that we can help one another.
Amen.
We need that. We need that now more than ever. And like all this craziness is going on around us, in every part of the world, there's some sort of real, almost demonic activities. Okay. We need to be able to get hold of our hearts, which is what, in essence, what you're saying. You're saying you see the women of your country suffering, and because they're suffering, they can't be whole. There's no way for them to have a wholeness about them.
Because it's even starting to affect the next generation. Because how can you expect these mothers to raise these kids to become better when they're seeing abuse in a home and still expecting to see a difference? And abuse is becoming worse because nobody is doing anything at home. And our next generation is what's building our next future. They're seeing abuse and it's starting to become worse. Our community is being affected. Our families are being affected. Everything. Our children are being affected. That's our future.
Absolutely.
Our kids are our future.
So if we don't get ourselves together and be able to encourage wholeness and mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being and health, then the next generation is lost, and the generation after that is lost, and it just keeps going downhill.
And worse, every generation it gets worse. Every generation it gets worse and worse and worse.
You know, it's such a big thing. What can you say to it? You know, it's you know, well, prayer is always a weapon.
These women need to stop beating each other down.
What can you do?
These women need to stop beating each other down and start helping one another. When another woman come and tell you she's going through this, be there and help. Don't be there to gossip and try to trash the person.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and try to educate. If you have knowledge and if you know something, share it. Don't hold it. You know, knowledge is power. A lot of people are so depressed, they don't even got time to read. You try to even read anything, you won't get it. You know, there's a block because of so much stress and the problems just facing them, you know, and don't even have a way out. I was there too.
Yeah.
It took somebody to
people. Yeah, I've heard it from many people who have been in similar situations, African, Hispanic, and probably I'm probably living in a building with women who have been through that, and they're Asian.
And believe me, it takes a village.
Yeah, it really does. It's going to take all of us doing whatever we can, even this conversation that we're having, the fact that it's going to be aired, that other people get a chance to listen to it. Those who will hear it, and it will wake up something in them, and they'll say, oh, wait a minute, I'm also from Kenya. This woman's from Kenya. I need to get in touch with her.
And not only if one person step forward and start speaking against it, you give other women strength, and maybe, and that's what I'm hoping it happens, you know? So I'm just going out there, and whatever God throws at me, I'm going to take it. I got to move by faith and not by sight. So.
Because I mean, right now, if we look at this, it feels bigger than us.
It does. It is actually bigger than us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really bigger. It's like, well, where do I start? Where do I begin? What do I do? That's, you know.
Who do I go to? Who do I ask for help?
Right, exactly.
Imagine.
Are there any kind of resources?
Right.
Now imagine my head.
Wow. I mean, just you bringing it in our space. I mean, I already know how you feel, because I'm thinking, well, what is she going to do? How is she going to tackle such a huge epidemic? It's a cultural thing.
It's deep. It's deep in the
very,
culture.
very deep.
And women are frightened.
But when you look at it in the physical realm, it looks impossible. With God, all things are possible.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And to be sure, He wants this to come to an end.
He does.
Sure, He wants it to come to an end.
He does, because that's not love. God is not that.
No.
And He will peel it. Trust me, it's about to start, but He won't peel this thing like an onion. Best believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's already said that. We
gotta speak life to it. We gotta speak life to it.
Yes, and he gotta know that you mean it.
And I do.
You mean it.
Yeah.
I'm just, wow. This is just, you're brave.
Oh, they gonna try to stop me, but if God be for me, nobody and nothing can be against.
And it's important. It really is important. No woman should be abused.
Critically
Nobody
important.
should be abused. It's just inhuman.
It is.
It's very inhuman.
Yeah,
it is.
Wow. So
when you look at all the things that women have suffered over the years, centuries, and you kind of like think that we're in this great technological age, this great age of knowledge and information. And then you hear something like this, it's like,
I know, I'm just like, oh gosh, you got my head blown up. I'm like,
it's unbelievable.
The further ahead we get, the more we're going backwards.
Yes.
You know, you would think that with all that we've quote unquote mankind has accomplished, we would be so much more advanced, but it's like we have all the material things, but spiritually we're going backwards.
Because we're in a spiritual warfare.
Yeah, we are. It's a spiritual warfare. Indeed it is.
It's a spiritual warfare. And it's like, the more people try to understand more things in the physical realm, the more crazy they get, because you're not gonna see it and you're not gonna understand it physically. Only way is spiritually. You gotta run to God if you want Him to start working and moving in your life. And that's a basic fact. I had to run to God.
Yes.
I had nobody, and I mean nobody. Little girl, locked in the basement. I remember praying, crying to God. I didn't know who I was praying to, but I know my mother talked. I used to hear my mother praying, saying God and stuff like that, manipulating in kind of a way. But the only thing that kept me alive is them fairy tales, and I knew this is not. It's just something in me just told me this is not love. It's just not. It's not. And I just kept crying and praying. One day, I broke free, and it will work. You just got to be persistent in your faith.
Wow. So what is your podcast going to be called?
Keeping it real, 100.
So where are you going to be broadcasting? Have you picked the platform yet?
Where I'll be broadcasting? It will be in my basement.
No. What platform are you going to be using? Like Facebook or a actual podcast service?
Oh my God, what is the podcast service that she hang on, what?
Blog. It's like Blog Talk, Spreaker.
There's this podcast service that I was told about by Miss Trotter, that broadcasts in most area. I have the name in my text messages.
Okay.
I just forgot the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but she told me which one, and I think it's $19.99 a month. And once you broadcast, it goes live in Spotify, iTunes, just most.
Must be talking about Spreaker, yeah, because we get listeners from Africa as well.
Oh,
yeah, but you just gotta stay persistent. It's one of those things where every week you gotta talk.
Yeah,
every single week. You cannot deviate, otherwise you won't be picked. People won't start gravitating to you. They have to know that you're going to be there. So you do have an opportunity to touch Africa.
Right. Oh, good. Thank you. Oh, I'm so happy.
Light at the end.
Look at God. Look at God. You see how he working.
Yeah, he is working. So you will be able to definitely reach a large community of women. Now, what I was just sitting here thinking was, like the Me movement. This sounds like this needs to be something like that.
The Me movement. Can you tell me a little bit about?
Is that what it is, Ruth? I could be saying it wrong.
I'm not sure what you're saying. I haven't heard
like,
that.
women that have been abused by men or inappropriately touched. I forget what they call it right now. I'm a little tired, so I could be saying everything wrong right this minute. But
which is understandable, Miss Edith. That's okay. Go ahead, honey.
Well, it's the Me Too movement. I think that's what it was called.
Oh, okay. Yes, the Me Too movement. Yes.
Okay, Me Too.
Y'all got me now.
Yes, we got you.
I don't know what that is. Can y'all explain to me?
Well, the Me Too movement was centered around women that had been inappropriately touched or that kind of thing by men, and women just got tired of it, and it branched all the way to like Hollywood, a lot of
politics.
A lot of high profile men they got fired from their companies. So look that up. But this sounds like that kind of thing.
They look like they need to expand.
Yes, this sounds like something that you want every woman on the continent
on it. Yes.
Because with that, now that's some huge power.
Yeah. And I am going to thank you, Miss Ida, for that information.
I don't know, that just popped in my head. I was sitting here thinking, and I'm like, I know I got it all crazy at first, but
you know that stuff like that don't happen by mistake, Miss Ida.
Yeah, and I'm like, something of this magnitude, every woman on a continent has to be involved.
Really?
No more than a donation.
Wow, I'm actually just looking at it, and it said Tarana Burke is a civil rights activist from the Bronx, New York, who founded the Me Too movement in 2006.
Well, maybe you need to reach out to her.
Yeah, that might be a resource for you.
Yeah, she can probably help you to get organized with this.
Yes.
And if she's an activist, I mean, I'm sure she ain't liking it. I mean, right here in the United States, we've got slavery going on with girls. So, to me, connect all of that
together
and make it worldwide.
That's so
Stop
true.
the madness.
Yes, put it all together and make it all in one.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Yes. Wow, we done sat here and came up with
some. With a plan. Yes.
When we first
started. God. He said when three are gathered, I am where?
He's in the midst.
Yeah, because when you first started
calling on him the whole time.
Like, oh my God, this is huge.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, the Me Too popped in my head.
That's perfect.
And
that's a start.
I am going to reach out to her.
And in the Bronx, oh yeah, you're hitting Manhattan. You're going to get a whole lot of support.
And not only that, she's right here down the street. She's not like nowhere in California. New York is like literally 4 hours away.
Exactly.
Look at God. Look at God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he just surprises me every time.
Yes. Well, I am rooting for you, and for sure, I'm going to put this in prayer. When I lay down tonight, I'm going to say a long prayer about this, because this is gigantic. This is gigantic.
Because it's going to hit in politics, African politics.
Oh, honey, yes.
That's hitting every politics of third world country.
When women come together,
it's power.
We can move mountains.
Yes, because I remember the women's, the women's walk that happened last year, I think it was, or maybe earlier this year. All over the continent, women assembled.
Wow.
It was so beautiful.
Oh my God.
To see, I mean, every part of the globe on that day, women assembled.
That's amazing. Now, if we can do that and have it in every national and race, I mean, not just United States, everywhere. Stand up.
Okay, that's the name of it. Stand up. There you go. Write that down.
Look at God. Oh, where's my book? Wait a minute. Where's my book? Wait a minute.
We're sitting here collaborating, coming up with ideas, and wow.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh my God. I wrote that down. Stand up. Yes. There's even power in that word.
Yes. There's a lot of power in that word.
It's
a lot of power. Wow. Well, our audience is probably like, wow, these women are sitting here having a meeting.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh my God.
Well, you know what? They're getting a good idea of what collaboration means.
Yeah.
You know?
And they seeing it too. Yeah. Well, they're hearing it.
They're hearing it.
They're hearing it.
They're understanding what it means.
Yeah.
Yes, because this is what collaboration. This is how we do it. We
Right.
get here and we, nobody's prettied up. We just
Right.
sit there.
That's for sure.
She yawning over there.
You come as you are, okay?
Okay, I done had my yawn.
Come as you are. Shoot.
We are definitely here as we are.
Yeah.
And you have brought awareness to our audience and awareness to us, because
Yes.
I heard of these things,
Wow.
but to meet somebody that actually lived it, I've never met anybody that lived it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you so much, Ms. Ida, for just giving me the platform. And I just hope we can work more together. That I do hope.
Yes.
And I'm praying on it.
Yes, you're a beautiful soul. I felt that the moment I met you,
Yes,
and I know that your heart is in the right place.
Thank you.
This is a big, big, big.
I guess that's my purpose, y'all.
Yeah, this is God.
That's why.
God done laid it on you.
Okay. And make no mistake when he called me Grace. Huh.
Yes, he did. He did. He knew what you were going to have to do from the day that you were born.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
people that are going to rally around you to help you get this done are just waiting for you to reach out.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'm honored to even have brought awareness to women, and I hope this reach everywhere because I need people, y'all.
So if people want to reach out to you about this, how do they do so?
Well, they can reach out to me. My email address is gracenguro@icloud.com. My Instagram name, you can DM me on Instagram. It's Kenyan Queen Melanin. You can reach me that way, or you can reach me on Facebook, Melanin Malika. You can reach me that way. And yeah.
All right. Stand up.
Stand all the way up.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you for your courage for bringing this topic out.
Oh my
Thank
God,
you.
I didn't even see this coming.
Nope. No.
I didn't see this coming at all.
Yeah.
We've been collaborating tonight, and people got to hear how we do it.
Yes, ma'am.
We sitting down planning and doing things, and light bulbs going off, and all that good stuff.
Are you serious? Yeah, I did something. It's like, no. Thank you, God.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Queen. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Word on the street says there's something new at Just Minding My Business Media. You've heard our podcast, Just Minding My Business Radio, that brings news and views you can use. That airs every Thursday at 6 p.m. on iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and Spreaker. Well, now you can watch Just Minding My Business. That's right, Just Minding My Business Media now has a TV presence on Raven International TV Network, broadcast on Roku, Fire, and Apple TV. Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV, through Just Minding My Business dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.asistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Let Just Minding My Business Media promote your business. For information, visit us at jmb.asistercircle.org. That's jmb.asistercircle.org. ASISTAS circle.org. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.